Welcome back, guys, to the Okie Homies channel. My name's Rudy and I'm the guy in the video doing all the work. Today we're doing some plumbing. Yay, plumbing. So we're going to be using 1/2 inch PEX piping, blue and red. Um, it's pretty easy to work with. It's a whole lot easier than and a lot more resilient than PVC. It's a lot easier to work with. A lot less, it's actually pliable. It comes in a big roll. You can see it there in the blue. Um, have to use some specialized brass fittings with a crimp ring and a crimping tool, which I'll link in the description to the one that I got from Amazon. It crimps and also cuts because you are going to screw up. I've screwed up a lot in this crimp stuff that just didn't work or crimped it wrong or whatever. But eventually you just kind of get better at things the more you do them. But here, drilling pilot holes for all of the pipes to go through. I measured out, I think 12 inches off the ground. I can't remember the exact measurement, but just made a mark and then went and cut it all. And then here in the corner, I didn't think about it beforehand and put too much on the framing. So you can see where I've tried to drill 2 holes that meet and I just couldn't get it to fit. So I decided that I would use a Sawzall to kind of cut more of a direct path. Spoiler alert, that didn't work. That was a horrible idea, but it is what it is. I didn't want to go behind it because you can see in the corner there I would be more up against the wall, and when it came to insulation, well, I want the insulation to be against the wall and the pipes to be closer to me and closer to the inside structure to prevent from freezing and just any other thing. If you ever need to get to them, it'd be a lot easier to cut through some drywall and just see the pipe. PEX can freeze. It doesn't have a memory, so it can expand and contract and won't break. It's pretty great for things like that, in addition to just being easy to work with. So I hit a kind of just didn't know what to do point, so I decided, well, I'll just start running the hot water, the red pipe, and then figured out what to do, and I went up. So I went up above the structure, up above the framing, basically into the ceiling, if you will. I have those rafters running across, so I mean it's kind of dead space, and that stuff it's not holding up a load necessarily. So I was able to go through the roof and come back down on the other side, or up into the ceiling, not up through the roof. So just a little more pipe, a few more fittings, and everything kind of works out that way. Kind of looks dumb when you walk in there right now, but it's all going to get covered up, so who cares? We're just moving water, right? But like I said, this stuff's pretty easy to work with. Unfortunately, you basically have to buy a 100-foot roll from Lowe's, at least my local Lowe's. Hello, bug. That was weird. And so I'm going to have a ton of it left over, but at least it rolls up and you can kind of tuck it away. Again, unlike PVC, it's pretty easy to store as well, at least easier to store. My house that I currently live in has PEX, so if I ever need to change it out or something, I have it. You want to keep it out of direct sunlight if you're storing it or just as you're working and, it's sitting around. UV light will affect it, direct UV light. I know when it initially came out, there was major issues with plumbers. You drive around with product in your truck, piping, different things just kind of in the bed of the truck. Well, I guess the early versions were very susceptible to the UV exposure, and so lots and lots of homes have had to have the PEX piping pulled out and new PEX put in, and I can't imagine what that process is like. So anything you could do if you're going to hold on to it for a while, or if you just go pick it up and you're like, oh, no big deal, I don't need to get to this for 3 days, pull it out of your truck or car or whatever's sunlight can get to it, put it somewhere that's kind of out of the direct sunlight. So be forewarned. Luckily my uncle kind of warned me about that. Not that it was going to be an issue, but always nice to know things just in case. This is going to be one video, like part one, because there's so much to this. Like right now, what I'm doing is I'm putting in the structure for the tankless hot water heater, which is kind of, I know, redundant. I don't know if you've ever thought about hot water heaters, like why do you need to heat hot water? It's an old Gallagher joke, but does make sense. Why are we heating hot water? So, um, but it'll be an inline tankless water heater, and I just wanted to make sure that whatever structure I was going to mount it to was going to be solid. It's not that heavy of a unit. It's not that big of a unit. I think it's only like 24 inches tall and maybe 14 inches wide, 5, 6 inches deep. So it's nothing spectacular, but it is going to take up some space, and it is going to hang on a wall. And you want it to hang kind of on an outside wall, and because you are going to have to drain it and run some. There is always, just in case the thing develops a leak, you want to run it outside, is kind of my thought. Your common hot water tanks all have a basically an exhaust valve, if you will, an emergency valve that goes outside into your main. But that was just before there was how this stuff works. You just use a crimp ring on it. It's real easy. I'm going to post another video here soon that is more of a up close of how this stuff works, but it's pretty easy. There's a bunch of videos out there, and this is the shower valve from Delta. I'll link to this as well on Amazon, 1/2 inch style. Basically, this is your hot and cold go into the valve, and then the piece on the top there that's going up that I just tightened, that piece runs up to your shower head. That top part right there that I'm attaching right now, that red pipe, runs up to your shower head, and that's what hits you on the head when you turn the shower on. You can see like kind of a black bracket that's on there. You don't have to leave that on there. I'm leaving it on there, one, because it helps index you as far as where the drywall is going to sit, or not necessarily drywall, but your finish wall is going to sit. I'm going to do a shower, like a tile shower. I'm not going to do a bolt-in. I already have the shower pan. But before I do that, I'm going to do a plywood and then a concrete board. Plywood with a protective layer and then a concrete board. So using, again, to do it all over again, doing the framing, I would do actual 2x4s instead of 2x3s, because with the 2x3s, everything is a little bit different. That shower valve is made for 2x4 construction. So